Good evening, guys. How have you been? I was under the weather and I'm finally feeling better. In fact, I lost my voice over the weekend, coughing, sneezing, wheezing, you know how that goes. But thank God for my doctor, he fixed me. I'm here tonight wearing my prescription in transition glasses. I don't know if you've seen them before. I think they're pretty fancy. I have my fancy braids too. Do you see the flowers? Flower one, flower two here, just for you, just for your visual pleasures. I also have on a rose quartz healing crystals set. So this jewelry here was beautifully and wholeheartedly created by the one and only talented Matthew Enson. You can follow me on Instagram to find out more about him. He's such a beautiful soul from the inside out, and he carries. I'm happy that I carry his energy everywhere I go. I'm here tonight to deliver the following message, my story, my testimony. I don't know if you recall my video, I surrender. Ever since I've been aggressively pursuing my purpose, and God showed me that he wanted me to share my pain, my struggles, my hurt, my trauma, my past with others, and how he brought me through every step of the way for his glory. So since I've started this journey of healing for others and myself, I've had the urge for the past 2 nights. If you follow me on Instagram, you could see me just up at night or random hours just sharing my story. The Holy Spirit is just at work in me. Grace has changed my heart because I would never before on my own with my flesh come forth with the things I've been through because I was operating from a place of pride and ego. So let's cut to the chase. I was born on January 13, 1989 in the neighboring country of Ivory Coast. Yes, my country of origin is Burkina Faso because my mom and dad both are from there. So I was born the result of an affair between a married man, my dad a diplomat who was working in the Ivory Coast, and between my mom, a teenager. She was in her late teens. I'm not sure if it was 18 or 19. I have no way of confirming that. So I was born, and when I was born, I could not live with my dad. Obviously, he's married. His wife doesn't know and does not agree with that. So at the age of 2, my mom took me back to my dad's village. And my grandfather called my dad and was like, were you ever involved with this woman? My dad answered yes. So my grandfather said, you know what? I would rather keep someone else's blood, a stranger's blood, rather than leave my own blood outside. With that being said, I was living with my oldest aunt. Let me explain. My dad's oldest brother, his wife, and my mom shared the same tribe, Fulani. Because of the language barrier, I was staying with her because I did not speak my dad's tribe's language. So my grandfather on my dad's side is a Muslim. At the time, he had four wives, and 36 kids. So I grew up with them. I was staying with them. And every now and then, my mom, my biological mom, Khadija, her name is Khadija. Khadija means premature girl. It's the name also that I've given Brianna as a middle name. It's one of the 4 perfect wives. What is a perfect wife? According to the Quran, the 4 perfect women were Khadija and 3 other women that he's married. Khadija was the first wife. Aisha also is one of them. So my mom used to come and visit me there. And one day I remember she said she was going to come and never made it. I took that pretty hard. I was crying. I was so hurt that day, not knowing that she'd passed away. So ever since a young age, I've learned to not rely on what others tell me. I've learned not to trust because I was let down at 2 years old. So I was not allowed to live with my dad in the city. I was still in the village with my oldest aunt because my dad did not get the permission from his wife to get there. And one day when I was 7, my dad came and got me. Supposedly his wife heard a voice in the shower, and that voice said, get that child. That's how they came and got me. That shortly thereafter, my dad got affected to Libya. We moved there, we lived 5 years. Then we went back home for 2 years. Then we went to India for 5 years. So I don't need to tell you that I'm the black sheep of the family. I have 3 half brothers and sisters. My good friend and the godmother of my kids told me that my story reminded her of the one of Joseph's story. So I'm the black sheep, so I always had to go out of my way to be better than others. I was always class president in high school, had the best grades. I was competing in every sport in middle school, trying to be like, okay, if they see all of that, they will accept me. They will take me in as one of their own. They would love me. No, never. It all backfired. So pretty much my story has been one of humiliation, of confusion, of rejection, of emotional abuse, and the trauma that comes with it, guys. I am just at a good place in life to be able to even talk about that. The healing process is beginning right now. I was taught by my own dad. He always said, if there were 3 outstanding students in the class, you had to be one of them. If it was 1 outstanding student, it had to be you. So I grew up to the time that I was at home, living home with my dad and his family. I grew up believing that you had to compete with others. Finally, when I was 19 and I moved here on my own, I learned that my own competition was myself. And it was just so freeing. And I had to let go. I had to leave them behind. Guys, walking away from a family that never approved of me, never accepted me in the first place, is the best decision ever. So yes, I am an orphan. Yes, my mother didn't raise me. Yes, my dad did not claim me. Nevertheless, I will never be a victim. I'll never be bitter or resentful. Instead, what I've done is redirect that energy and pour the love into myself and be the parent I needed as a child to Brianna and Braylon. Guys, the work starts with you. You have to break the curse. You have to stop that. Just like God has used me to reverse a curse, a family lineage that was broken, cut short too early, abruptly. In fact, my mom passed away when I was 2. She had to be either 19 if she had me at 17, 20 if she had me at 18, or 21 if she had me at 19. Her own mother passed away the day of her birth while she was giving birth to her from an ear infection. That was back in the day in a third world country, so they didn't have the medical support and all of that. So the only person I had left at the time on my mom's side was my great-grandma. And I remember when I moved to the city with my dad and his family, when she came to visit me, she was just crying. At that time, I did no longer spoke Fulani. My mom was a Fulani, the most beautiful African tribe. I would no longer spoke that language, but she was just crying because of the curse. She just wanted me to extend the family. I was the sign of hope. So God has used me since my mother's womb to reverse that curse of a family lineage cut too short. I'm the sign of hope because these 2 women didn't live past their early 20s. And here I am today celebrating my life. Guys, there is a God out there. There is a God out there. And I will not be bitter. I will not be hateful. There is a reason for everything. And with that being said, when God is ready for me, when my soulmate comes to me, I will have more kids because I would like to keep that family lineage going. It's never your fault how you came into this world. You're not a mistake. Don't let anybody make you feel less than. If you're here today, it's because there is a purpose. There is a reason why you came out the way you did. Do not let that stop you. Do not let that hold you back, but rather use that. Turn your pain into power. Turn your pain into purpose. And I didn't know all these things until I turned 14. And my uncle insisted to take me to the village to meet my grandfather on my mom's side. That's when I found out all this story. He was 74 at the time, Fulani too. I look just like my mother, by the way. Just a much darker version. I'm a much darker version. I look just like her. You think like my kids look like me? The strong genes comes from Khadija. And I have my dad's smile. So to my father's wife, I'm a painful reminder of a failed marriage, So when I went to visit my grandfather and got to talk to him, of course I didn't speak their language. We had to use a translator. He was telling me a little bit about my mom, my grandma, and all that. He's Muslim too. So my mom was Muslim, my dad is Muslim, but I've made the conscious decision to be a Christian, to become a Christian. And my grandfather shared with me that by the time I'd met him, he had 12 wives. Every time one died, he replaced them. So I was just so revived. And my old aunt that has raised me from age 2 to 7, I couldn't speak her language anymore because I forgot Fula. But she gave me a couple of pictures of my mom. Those pictures would later on be ripped apart and burned right before my eyes. Guys, since I've started this journey of telling my story, my pain and my trauma to release it, since I've taken ownership of my past, I sleep better at night, I feel lighter. So thank you for tuning in today. For the full hairstyle and outfit, follow me on Instagram at Aisha for His Glory. Don't forget to like my Facebook page, Dress for Success with Aisha. Talk to you soon. Mwah, mwah, mwah.